So one of the main reasons that people cheat is when they are not feeling seen in their relationship. Okay. Often, hence I made the feminine female breadwinner, women that are these like girl bosses, boss babes, whatever, wives, and making all the money, they see their male partner as less than. And there can be some resentment for him not providing, like there's some shit around money, to say the least. And you feel like because he's not bringing in as much money and like, you know, it's on you to make the money to like pay for the fancy trips or whatever it is, there can be a little bit of resentment that starts to build. Even if you don't want to admit it, you probably love him to death and you don't care. I get that, but there could be a little bit of resentment. And it doesn't mean that the way to solve the resentment is that he needs to make more. There's another way to solve the resentment, not that way, okay? But the main thing is like the being seen is really important. So he wants to be seen and enough for you, right? And he wants to be seen and enough for her, a woman. He wants to just feel seen and enough inherently within himself. So eventually he gets that feeling elsewhere if you're not giving it to him. And let me oh, and let me just say that if you're not feeling seen by him, you very well may go elsewhere to get that feeling too. We want to be seen in our emotions, in our feelings, in our opinions, in our expressions, in our desires, in our needs, in our wants, in our dreams, in our goals, in our relationship. It's important that you feel seen, and it's also important that he feels seen too. Okay? And the reality is that in most cases, people cheat when the relationship is not giving them what they need. Not just what they want, but also what they need. This kind of relationship is also often one full of resentment, full of a lack of communication, values are not aligned, and you don't feel like you are a team. You feel like you're always butting heads. When the two of you are disconnected, that's why these things go unnoticed, because you're connected to your phone more than you're connected to that other person. Okay. The other reason that people cheat is because of insecurity, and their need for self-gratification is larger than their desire for intimacy. Obviously, if you are completely obsessed with the person that you are with, hello, me and him, it would never even cross your mind to cheat. Just thinking about it would make you sick to your stomach. But the reality is, not everybody gets into those kind of relationships. Sometimes people settle, or sometimes they don't know that there is something more. And so they're in a relationship and they think this is all I can get. It's as good as it can get, et cetera, whatever it is. I'm not shaming that person, and I'm not shaming you if you're in that situation. I also just don't want you to second guess your relationship, because I'm sure it's beautiful. And if you find yourself in a relationship that's blah, right, what can happen, can happen, is that you or your partner has a bigger desire for their ego to be fed and to have self-gratification than to deepen the intimacy with you, and has a bigger desire for that, the self-gratification, than to get really honest about your relationship, about what you guys want together, and about where you guys can do better together and separately. It doesn't mean that I'm saying stay in a shitty relationship or stay in a fucking dry, dead relationship. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is that there's a lot of people in relationships where they're just not putting in the effort. I'm sorry, but relationships take effort. If you don't want to put effort in, if that doesn't excite you, that you get to give your energy to somebody else that you love and adore, and you receive that back in return, then like reevaluate some shit, or you're not in the right relationship. Because I was only thinking yesterday, oh, it feels so good to be able to, text my fiance and ask him, do you want to come home to carrot cake or blueberry and banana muffins? Or, how can I help you because your flight's been delayed and like you only have one full day at home before we have to leave for Italy or whatever it is. Like, it feels so good to be able to support somebody. That's what life's about. It's about connection. Like, being independent's great. Being single is fucking great. But it will get to a point where you're like, okay, I'm ready to share my life with somebody else. But what can be blocking you from also calling in that relationship is if there's a part of you that doesn't want to have to share your time with somebody else. If there's a part of you that isn't excited or doesn't have the resources, time, energy, soul space, heart space to give a part of you to somebody else. So when you are in a relationship where the other person is more concerned about their own self gratification, it can just mean that they are putting more of their energy towards themselves than you. It doesn't mean that they should put more energy towards you than themselves. That's what I'm saying, because self care is really important. And you also don't want to be in a relationship where, you know, no energy is going towards yourself, because you'll end up resenting the other person. And like, you guys know the whole host of things that come with that. But I'm just saying that you want to be with someone that isn't in a relationship just to meet their own needs. They're in a relationship because they want to be in that relationship and they want to keep growing and deepening and strengthening the relationship. So part of being a mature adult means that you can defer your own self gratification for the bigger picture. For example, not drinking your life away the night before you get on an international flight. Been there, not doing that again, right? So that example, it's like you're deferring your own self gratification of having a fucking loose as hell night with, for the bigger picture, the international flight that you have to get on. So instead of getting a quick fix one night by someone that isn't your woman or your man, you actually fix what needs to be fixed in the relationship that's causing you to stray in the first place, because that's going to bring more happiness in the long term. Doesn't mean everything can be fixed in a relationship. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying, like, you want to be with someone that's tried or has the self-respect and therefore respects you to end the relationship before it got to that point, right? When people have a lack of self-commitment, vision, and frankly, self-esteem, they can find themselves more focused on making themselves feel good rather than focusing on the relationship. Think about what I always say. People that respect themselves respect others. If that person that cheats respects themselves, they'd also respect you enough to not cheat and tell you that they don't want to be with you before they go and do something like that, because that is what somebody with self-respect does, because they respect other people, right? When you're in a relationship that's thriving, no one's going to cheat. That's pretty obvious.